Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm here to talk about 1 year reflections today. My name is Lori, I'm a reseller, and I just recently celebrated 1 year as a reseller on primarily Poshmark and a little bit of eBay. So I thought this would be a good time to kind of introduce myself and let you know how I got into reselling and a little bit about my journey. So if that's something you'd like to hear about, stick around and we can catch up. So I've always kind of at heart been a bit of a reseller, definitely a bargain hunter, lifelong flea marketer, yard sailor, all that sort of fun stuff. But I've primarily been at home with my kids for 20 years. My oldest is 20, I have 3 children. My son Anthony is 20, he is at Penn State. My daughter just started her senior year today, Angelina, and my son is Rocco. And yes, I'm Italian, but I am also French-Canadian. But my poor mom, she's the French one, and I didn't name any of my kids anything French. Sorry, Mama. But anyways, so yeah, 3 kids. I've been home all these years, married my high school sweetheart, and we just celebrated 24 years together. I've been very fortunate. I went to school to be a teacher and got my master's at San Francisco State in special education, got pregnant with Anthony, moved home. We bought about 40 minutes from home when we first came back. I'm originally from central Massachusetts, and I ended up not teaching. I subbed for a while, but ended up staying home. I was very grateful. I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but I definitely always wanted to do something else while I was home. So for almost 10 years, I was a creative memories consultant. I was big into photography and scrapbooking, and I've always treasured pictures and memories. So I did that for 10 years. And then at the end of that journey, or maybe somewhere in between, there was a little bit of overlap. I'm trying to think time-wise. My kids were like in preschool. I think Anthony was in kindergarten. Anyways, I started working at the American Girl store, which they built in Natick, Massachusetts in 2008. It was October. I think I interviewed in August. I strictly just wanted to get out of the house a little bit and maybe work through the holiday season. Well, that holiday season as a temporary person turned into a 10-year journey with American Girl, primarily working part-time. I was in the sales department. I worked in the historical doll department for a while with all of the original characters. That was where my passion was. And I did that for some time, I think 6 or 7 years. And then I left. And in that time, after I left American Girl, I think it was around 2013, 14-ish, I started reselling a little bit on eBay, very informally. We had a Salvation Army one town over that has since closed, and I would go there and pick things up and sell them on eBay. Never ever knowing there was like this whole community of resellers out there. It was just a little bit my jam. I'd always loved it. And I saw that I could make some money doing it. So I was super, super amateur, like zero equipment, just picked up things I liked and sold them. I did that on and off for probably a year and a half, 2 years, with a little bit of success, but never anything serious. I think my best week in reselling, which was like very busy for me, I sold 18 items and I was like blown away. That's still a pretty good week. If I sold 18 items now in a week, I wouldn't be sad. But that was like huge for me back then. But it was a little bit short-lived. And then I decided to go back to American Girl, and this time I went back as a personal shopper. So I did that for a few years. I really enjoyed the customer service end of the business and always felt very natural in a sales role. So I was at American Girl, but now I was like working on almost 10 years. So I knew it was time for a change. In the midst of all this too, I worked part-time at my daughter Angelina's dance studio. She had been a competitive dancer for several years, and I was very attached to my dance family. So I worked in the office with the owner, and all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, Angie's junior year, the start of last year, she decided to quit dance. In the year before that, we were going through some transitions at dance, and I decided to not work there anymore, to give myself a little distance and give Angie her space at the studio. But when she decided to quit dance, a lot of things changed, like just our schedule. I had a lot more free time. I was really sad because she had stopped. She was okay. Dance mama was sad. But I was so attached to my family, my dance family and friends, that my day-to-day life really, really shifted. And I was starting to my kids were getting older, and I was like, what am I going to do? Now that dance is gone, now that my son's in college, things are moving in that direction, a little bit towards that empty nest. So I really had to reassess what I wanted to do. So at the time, I was working at American Girl, and it was last June, I think, of 2018. So I was still working part-time. The personal shopping department had closed at our location. And so I went over to the doll hair salon. So yes, I did hair for the dolls for a few years, and I loved it. So I worked in the sales department, on the floor. I worked in events, and I did the personal shopping, and then I was in the hair salon. So I loved that company. I loved the friends that I made there. I loved the product. I love American Girl. We had this lead. Her name was Rafaela. You may know her as the Bins Queen. So she was a lead in our department, and she came in one day and told us that she was giving her notice, that she was moving to Pennsylvania to pursue her dream as a reseller. And I'm like, well, what do you mean a reseller? And I had actually done it, but I never really put a name on it. And so she's like, oh, I flip things on the side. And I felt like everybody at the store knew that Rafaela did this except for me. And I had worked with her for a couple of years or a year. So she told me a little bit more about it. I followed her on Instagram, and honestly, it was like a light just turned on. It occurred to me that I could actually do this for a living. And I had been really struggling, American Girl, as much as I loved it, it wasn't a career choice for me. And my daughter had long outgrown the brand. It now became things that the dolls and stuff were things I was interested. It was just time for me to move on. And as it turned out, I left my job at American Girl March. So I had started reselling in August. And then in March of 2019, I formally said goodbye to American Girl. And in January, and in March, the store closed. I think a lot of the stores are going to be closing. But anyways, it was very much an end of an era. Rafaela moved out, and she was instrumental in helping me get started. I think back to how many times I messaged her with questions about, Poshmark or eBay, or what kind of labels do you use? How do you package things? 1,000 questions. And she was so patient and so amazing in helping me get started, truly instrumental, Rafaela. You have no idea. So she was amazing. Check her out. I'll link her below. I've talked to you about her several times. But anyway, so yeah, Rafaela, of all people, was the person who kind of inspired me to take the plunge. So I did that, and I just started reselling last August. I hit the yellow tag sale August of 2018 at TJ Maxx, and I never really turned back. I didn't really go to the bins, I don't think, until the fall of 2018, and now it's my home away from home. So it's amazing how quickly things can change. And I feel like everything I've done in my life has led me to where I am now as a reseller. Even my years as a teacher, I kind of skimmed over that. I only taught for 4 years. I taught students with severe behavior and emotional needs out in California. And then I came home, I was pregnant and had my son here, and then I subbed a little bit and then pretty much left teaching. I subbed throughout the years, but I was never fully committed. And then once my kids had grown up, and at this stage of the game, I was like, do I really want to go back to teaching? And the answer was no for me. As much as I'd love to teach, I kind of feel like my YouTube videos are an avenue for me to teach, just on a different subject. So that's how I ended up here. And it also, all of my time with creative memories, that was a big part of my life too. I was very much believed in the power of photographs and capturing memories. So I love that aspect of my job, where I'm taking pictures of clothing now and sometimes hard goods, but I mean, it's really interesting to me how all these little things along my path led me to be a reseller. And I have to say, like, I feel like this is it. I'm 46 years old and I feel like I finally figured out what I wanted to. So I'm grateful for everybody who helped me along the way. And now, yeah, so 1 year into reselling. Just last month, I hit over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I really, really love this facet of my job. I love sharing like my treasures that I found with you. I can't imagine doing this without the reselling community. Like, there have been just an enormous amount of people who I have relied on. Empty Hanger, like I would fall asleep watching her videos before bed, just trying to soak in as much information. And now I'm watching YouTubes on, you know, how to use my vlogging camera, which I still haven't managed to do yet. Or I never thought I'd be a person who was on YouTube all the time, but I rely on YouTube for so much information now. And I wouldn't even consider myself this like really tech savvy person. Like, I'm always teasing my kids, like, get off your phones, get off your computers, go for a walk. And here I am. My whole livelihood is on my phone and Instagram and YouTube. So it's really fascinating to me that I've gotten to this place. Started just taking pictures. I put a tack up with a little hook in my living room area before I had any lighting, and that's where I had the most natural lighting. So that's where I started to take pictures. And I had like a couple of bins, and then I was like in the office of our upstairs, and my husband finally said, you know, maybe you should take this downstairs because you're taking up all space up here. And I said, yeah, fair enough, you know. So I went downstairs, and what is now my studio used to be a dance studio for my daughter. And for a while, that room made me very sad. And but it was also like a really fun playroom for the kids. She hadn't really used it in a while to dance. But it was time to repurpose it. Like, my kids, my daughter had joined a gym, my son was in college, and my youngest Rocco is just like, he's a baseball, basketball guy. He was not hanging out in the dance studio. So, although one time we had a hanging punching bag, and that was really fun for the boys. But anyway, so I transformed that dance studio into my office, and now that is where I work. And never in a million years would I have thought that that's what that room would become. But I took the ballet bars down, and took the heavy bag down and the punching bag down, and in went all my shelves and stuff. So it's been a really great thing for me. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to many more years as a reseller. The lighting is changing a little bit because I've been so chatty. Another thing that I just wanted to touch on is the fact that I am a part-time reseller. It's very different for me if you compare my business model to the people who are doing this full-time, who are paying their mortgage and their car payments and putting their kids through college. I am not the main source of income for our family. That has been my husband for all of our years of marriage, and I suspect will continue to be. He jokes and he says he's going to retire with my YouTube revenue, and that's kind of like a joke we have between us. I think I just made my first $6 on YouTube, but I don't even know how to access it. But anyway, it's important to not compare yourself to other people, and I've definitely learned that. And I think for me, one of the biggest challenges has been how I've ramped up my inventory. So I feel like sometimes I'm buying as much as full-time resellers, yet I don't have like virtual assistants doing listings for me, and then I get overwhelmed with inventory. So finding the right balance for you is really important. And the stresses and expectations that you put on yourself are very different from reseller to reseller. There's a huge spectrum that we're all on. And this has always, I've been able to have this be almost like a hobby fun thing that's definitely turning into something more serious for me. But it is a different business model. Okay, so here's the part of the video that I feel like I should talk about what I've learned as a reseller and a little bit of a business flair sort of portion of this video. So first and foremost, I think you have to be yourself. You have to, as far as like being on YouTube, I really can't be anybody but myself. I'm very much inspired by other people, but at the end of the day, you're gonna get Lori and you're gonna see the sort of things that I love or don't love, or you know, my style I hope comes through in my videos. And it also comes through in my Poshmark closet. I sell things that I love. I take chances on pieces I believe in. I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. I'm just now, after 1 year, going through my items in my bins and like pulling things and just letting them go. You know, for a startup company, you can't beat how little it costs to get started in reselling. You can take things from your closet and you can put a tack in your wall in your living room, and you can take pictures with your phone, and you can get priority packaging, which is free. So potentially this has like so little startup cost that buying pieces that didn't work for my business and just learning about brands over the past year has been worth it. You know, so as I'm pulling things and I think, oh, that cost $4, or oh, that cost $10, or maybe it was 50 cents. As I'm going through, I'm learning more about myself, my style, and I'm becoming more and more confident in the way that I run my business. And so you do learn a lot. So if you feel like you're just getting started right now and everything feels super overwhelming, it's because maybe it is in the beginning, but just know that you will come so far in a year and you will learn so much about yourself and your business. This is a hustle for sure. Like, I love it, so it doesn't feel like work to me. I've always loved to shop. I've always been a bargain hunter. Oh, actually, I need to link. I don't know how to link it here, the site yet. That's one of the other things. I'm always learning how to do things on YouTube. I just learned how to do like a picture in the frame, and I thought I was so cool that I learned how to do that. But it wasn't until like 2 videos ago that I learned how to do that. So for 6 months, I was shooting my what sold videos and like really poorly implementing the picture in the video because I didn't know how to do it. So maybe that's a video I should do. But anyway, for my 40th birthday, my husband said, you know, what do you want? And I used to tease him and I said, really all I want is a flash mob. I said, I'm fascinated by flash mobs, and that would be the biggest expression of love for all the people who I love to dance for me. And it was kind of a joke, but kind of not. Well, anyways, he did. Surprised me. To say he surprised me is the understatement of the year. But it was 6 years ago. I was not an American Girl, or maybe I was. I think that might have been my 2-year hiatus off. Anyways, the song that they chose to dance. So my daughter is the owner of the dance studio, taught everybody the dance. There's over 100 people at the mall. And they danced to Thrift Shop by Macklemore. So that was so perfect. And little did I know that that was going to be my anthem. And now I watch his video. Have you ever seen the Thrift Shop video? They're at the bins, and at the time I had no idea what the bins were. So funny. Life is funny. But pretty freaking awesome, I have to say. Best gift of my life was that flash mob. And who knew it would be about thrift shop, and here I am. So yeah, stay the course. If this is something you believe in, and if this fits your lifestyle, stay with it. I mean, it is so much fun for me. We traveled to Italy this summer and I thrifted out in Italy. I will go visit my college friends out to dinner. This happened last week and there was a Savers down the street. So you know what? I went to Savers, I bought a few things, and I was able to run through the mileage as a business expense. Like, I never thought I would find something like this that I could travel and thrift or you know, put my closet on vacation for a while. Like, it is beyond flexible. It fits my lifestyle so perfectly. And it's not easy. I was starting to say that. It's not easy. I mean, you really have to be consistent and you need to figure out what your business model is going to be. And I really wasn't sure about that, but I feel like I've kind of landed on the $20 to $40 item, relatively quick flips. I mean, I love picking up designer pieces and I still get so excited if I find them out in the wild, but generally, you know, I'm selling a lot of mall brands and like things like, you know, the Patagonias and the Doc Martens and Lucky brand and things like that. Like, I don't know, I'm settling into who I am and what my closet looks like, and every day is progress and knowing more about myself. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my little story. I hope it wasn't too much of a ramble. I thought I would take this opportunity to say thank you so much to everybody who has ever left me a kind comment or, you know, told me what a brand was that I didn't know, or told me the style of a pair of shoes. Like, everyone so far has been, so kind on YouTube, and I hope that this will continue to grow, my YouTube channel and my Poshmark closet and my business. And I look forward to continuing to share my journey with you. So thank you so much if you're still here. I know this was a little bit of a long video. I appreciate every one of you for sticking around. If you liked this video, you can give me a thumbs up on your way out and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more. So thanks again for tuning in. Here's to another great year of sales. Bye-bye.